Let's see this one right here. This is
probably the
I'd like
wedding
to maybe this would be
And then who's right
This
next
is
to
me.
Sigrid?
Victor, and then me, and then Alfred, and Rang, and Fritz, and O.R., Helge, and Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't we good-looking bunch?
Boy, you guessed.
well. It's a handsome family.
Right.
To have
right,
so many
right.
children, you know, and have them dressed so
yes.
nice. Mama made all of our clothes, even to the boys' pants. You know.
She did. Oh
Well,
my.
Alfred still looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at
Alfred.
that little girl.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
change very much.
No.
Your grandmother,
Come on.
Sigrid.
Sigrid,
Uh-huh.
Is that her?
apparently was a very fine seamstress.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so, and of course your mother was, you are, and my mother was.
Yeah, Mama kind of took after Sigrid, her grandmother, I think, because she
Did she?
could sew anything without a pattern. Just
Well,
cut
now,
it out.
Sigrid was married to who?
Oslin, he was in Oslin. She was a Westman.
Oh, she was a
That-
Westman. I
Yeah,
see, I
That's
see.
Khaki
and
and
mother.
Dorothy's grandmother. It's my grandmother too, but it's on Uncle Eric's side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they lived up on the old place up on. Now, did they build that house?
Yeah, Grandpa built that
He
house.
built it. Okay, I've always wondered that if they bought it that way or if they
No,
built it.
Grandpa
Okay.
built it.
So whose house is this?
That's
That's
their
Grandpa's
home
house.
in Mountain View.
Oslin?
Uh-huh.
That's the Oslin
Grandpa
home.
built that house.
Grandpa who?
Oslin.
Oslin.
Oslin. Oh, oh. Well, now Sealander, they said, was quite a carpenter too, right?
Yeah,
John Sealander.
yeah.
The old
John
Sealander.
Uh-huh. He probably helped, you know. He probably helped him.
Well, I think Mother said he helped build cupboards and things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
he
that
did
old-
in our house.
in your-
our house.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
built on
Yeah.
that kitchen part of our house.
Yes.
Built all the cupboards.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
Fritz was saying.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's where I got it. He was, John Solander was a tall man, you know. As easy as he seemed to me, he seemed like very much like, built like O.R.
Uh-huh.
And he had a voice like mine is now, didn't he? Kind of a
Yeah, gruff voice.
gruff voice. I mean, like he had something wrong in his throat, but it was just the way he was speaking. His wife Martha is the one that was related, though. He wasn't a blood relation. It was
Sealander
Martha.
wasn't? Oh.
No.
Martha was, what was her name?
She was Grandpa's
What was her?
Cylinder, but she was Grandpa's Austin's sister.
Oh, so
Yeah.
she was an
She was
Oslin?
Oslin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. I see. Oh, that's
And
how.
it took me a long time to know who that was until I
Yeah.
did a lot of my own genealogy.
Yeah,
I knew who she
yeah. I
belonged.
often wondered how the Sealanders fit in there, but that's what it was. It was his wife.
Yeah.
That belonged to the
And I
Oslins,
think
so.
they were here first before Mom and Dad came over, weren't they? Sealanders and Larson.
That's what Mother thought.
And Grandma and Grandpa came with Mom
With-
and Dad.
Yes, with your family.
Yeah.
Were
Okay.
you born here?
Yeah. Fritz and I
Okay.
were born here, so Alfred
Okay.
and Alfred too. But
Yeah.
Fritz was the firstborn, and then I was
You were.
second. We were born in Kickerville.
Uh-huh. Okay.
In a little tiny shack up there in Kickerville, Mama said.
Yeah, and I remember her saying that she said she could remember the first Christmas that you were here in America, and she said she could remember her mother crying and crying because it was such a shack. She could see through the walls, and it was wintertime, and the rats would run through the house.
Well, now, who had that house first? They told us that story. Who had the house first? Somebody had been there, living in the house first.
No, not the one they lived, not
In
the
our
Alfred's house.
In our house.
No,
not the one where Alfred
when they
lived.
came from Sweden.
The one that they lived in first when they came from Sweden,
Yeah.
that was just a shack up on the Kickerville Road near a shake mill where Grandpa worked when he first came here. That's the first job he had was with a shake mill. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought they said that the Larsons or somebody lived in that house before.
No,
No.
Beta Munson lived it.
Oh, Beta Munson,
Yeah,
that was
and
it.
Mom and Dad bought it from Beta Munson because her husband went insane or something. He was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And so they
That-
were
that was what- I knew it
and
was
she
somebody's
wanted to
house.
move some other where, and so she sold them that house and just
Yeah.
2 little rooms
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
sort of
That was
an-
Minnie's mother, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Minnie's grandmother.
But
No,
wasn't-
Minnie's mother.
Minnie's mother.
But wasn't that a later house? Didn't they buy that from Munson's after they moved from Kickerville
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lived in Kickerville
first, and then they moved down to
And
where
yeah.
the house you know,
With the house what?
where you were born. Yeah.
Oh, you were born in the oh, great. Thanks. Oh, that's
Beautiful.
wonderful.
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Remember how we used to have those in the
Do you
woods,
have them
Mother?
out in your yard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Well, we
in the
used to
woods.
have them out in our yard too. The kids were little, they'd go and pick those, you know, at Easter, before
Those
Easter.
little trilliums, yeah.
That's beautiful.
He's gonna send me home one.
Oh,
So I can put them
nice.
in my
Flowers.
now in the wooded area there.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, it's sure fun to.
So you just lived in some kind of a little shack first of all.
Yeah.
From Sweden.
Oh yeah. And Rang said that the first Christmas, at Christmas in Sweden they always had strawberries and it seemed nice. And the first Christmas she didn't have any strawberries or anything to fix Swedish pancakes for her kids, and she just cried and cried and cried.
Yeah. It was such a slim Christmas for them,
Yeah.
They said they were spat upon, and the kids were, I don't know about the adults, but the children were.
Yeah.
And
Spat upon?
yes, because they couldn't speak English, and maybe they dressed funny, I don't know, dressed different.
Yeah, they probably did.
Sure. Well, the immigrants now, they feel that they're put upon because they come from a different country and they should be so careful with them. But, we're not far from that.
No.
You know what I mean? And we made it.
Yeah.
You know.
You bet.
So, but it was really hard for them. And I think it was hard for Mother, too, because she was the oldest girl. And she had to wash clothes when she was just a little girl
Yeah.
and bake bread because her mother wasn't well. And for that large family, it
Yeah.
must have been very,
Well,
very
I
difficult.
started washing clothes when I was about 12. We'd
Yeah.
go out there in the garage and scrub clothes, but did you raise those beautiful flowers there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, those are gorgeous.
Yeah, aren't they pretty?
Beautiful,
Yeah.
I should say.
I wish
And
we
I
had
used
more.
to stay home a day a week to iron 24 shirts for my brothers,
Stay home from school to iron?
Yeah, I stayed home a day every week and helped Mama washing. And then when I come home at night, if the clothes weren't dry, we had to dry them on the line. And if they weren't dry, I'd have to iron at night when I got home. 24
What are
shirts.
these two things for?
Ragnar and Henry were working in Bellingham at the time, and they paid Mama $3 a month for us to do the laundry, and that's how I got to go to high school.
Wow.
And if they found there was a block of time where they were doing more than breathing, they gave you something to do, right?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. I used to feed the chickens in the morning and go out and help Fritz grind the kale and stuff for the cows, And then at night I'd have to stand and iron.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was a difficult life.
Yeah, it was. We had really worked. We knew what it was to work.
Yeah.
And when
that's
I got
right.
out on my own, I didn't know how not to work.
Well, Mother always said that she was glad she learned how to work early
Yeah.
because she always had to,
Yeah, that's right. I am too. I'm glad I knew how to work.
Now, tell a story of why your parents decided to leave Sweden.
What?
Why did your parents decide to leave
Well,
Sweden?
my mother had two dreams. Is this what your mother told you? Had two dreams that they should come to America, and they lived right beside a swift river. And she was afraid. She hated to see Dad even go to work. He had to go on down that river to go to work. He worked in the timber, and she hated to see her children have to cross that river to go to school. So that's why they wanted to get out of there.
So they just went to the United States because...
Yeah. And then Solanders were here and Larsons were here. And they told Mom, why the streets are paved with gold here. She said, don't bring any of your stuff that you made or anything. Just come. And here Mama left bedspreads and tablecloths and quilts. And,
Yeah. Mother said she sold her quilts,
yeah,
Can you imagine?
yeah, and everything. She said she didn't find any streets paved with gold when she got here. She had to start working all over again.
That's right.
Why? So now, what did your father do when he came over here? He didn't have a job, and could he
No,
speak
he
English?
started working in the lumber mill right next to our little shack that they lived in. They lived in a little shack up there in Tickerville. There was a little sawmill out there. And so he started working there, and he worked, in fact, he worked farther down on the way to Pleasant Valley after we moved to where we were. Because I can remember he and O.R. going up in the woods and cutting our timber and hauling the raw timber down to the mill to be made into shingle bolts and things.
So he learned English at the lumber mill. He didn't know any English before he came.
No, no. He worked out. He was a road boss on the roads, and he learned a lot of English. He'd from other people, talking to them and everything. He was a smart man. Grandpa was.
Did you speak Swedish at home?
Yeah, until I was 7. And then Mama said, no, we're not going to speak Swedish anymore. We want to speak the English language, because she wanted to learn it too. Because she didn't feel that her just staying in the house, she didn't know, talk to anybody.
She
but
didn't
just
speak
Swedish.
English either till later
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Oh
till-
my.
I was about 7. I didn't start school till I was 7.
And then you didn't know any English when you went to school then?
Oh yes, I
Oh,
knew
you-
because my older brother and sisters would talk to me, and we knew a lot of English. The kids did
You see, they knew both languages. They talked to their parents that way
in Swedish.
in Swedish because that's what they knew, and it was easy for you, I'm
Yeah,
sure, to slip back into Swedish. Maybe it was easier than English.
Yeah.
Evelyn said it was easier for her to speak Swedish than it was
Yeah.
English
Yeah, it
at
was,
first.
Yeah, it was for me too.
Yeah, she said her parents never did learn English. Her my grandparents never learned
Yeah.
English.
Well, Mom and Dad both did. I think Dad spoke it more fluently than my mother.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was out with the American-speaking men all the time.
Well, he would have had to.
Yeah.
And I think he was so smart that he knew that's the only way you get ahead.
Yeah,
They
he was
seemed to
really
be.
aggressive. Dad was.
I think he was, yeah. Now, there's a little story Mother told me. I'm sure you've heard it too, but she said that Grandpa, this may be exaggerated too, but she said that Grandpa sent Uncle Ragnar to school immediately when they came here. He couldn't speak English, but when he came home from school the first night, he handed Ragnar an English paper and said, "Read it." And have you heard that one too?
No.
Yeah, that's what
No.
Mother said. It may be slightly exaggerated
I
through years,
imagine so, because Dad was really insisted that we learn the English language,
Mhm,
And I
yeah.
think that's why they said what they did. That after we started school, we no more Swedish talking at home.
Yeah. No, they were very, very American. I mean, they kept some of their old practice. I mean, their old culture naturally, the best of it.
Yeah.
But let go the rest of it because they said we're Americans now. I can
Yeah.
remember Mother saying too at one time. He said we're Americans. He
Yeah.
said,
And they, every 4th of July or every picnic we went to, he would fly fat flags, American flags on his horses. You'd hardly ever
Really?
saw people do that. And even when
Oh.
we got the car in 1917, he got those flags and flew them on the car.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I remember that just so distinctly. Each of the horses had a row of flag, little tiny
Really?
flags up on their
That's
head.
kind of touching, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And that you went on, at 4th of July picnics and the whole celebrate just like
Yeah.
yeah. That's really nice.
What was your father like, Grandma?
What was my father like?
Yeah,
Oh,
if
he
you had
was,
to describe him. Just
he was a sturdy man, about 5'6". I was as tall as he was, but he was real sturdy and could work real hard. If he hadn't been killed by peritonitis, why he'd probably still be almost alive, because he was a real sturdy man.
and what was his personality like? Was he?
He was jolly, and then he could be strict too. When we needed a spanking, he could spank us. But he was usually quite a nice fella,
I assume he was a family man.
Oh, you bet. And he loved my mother like nobody you ever saw, He just thought the sun rose and set in her.
That's what Mother said too. She was she could do no wrong.
Yeah,
She was just about perfect.
yeah,
And that's really nice to hear,
yeah. That's right.
Well, what was your mom like then?
Well, she was really nice too. She just real quiet and went about her duties and tied quilts for us and made clothes for us. She didn't have much time to get in mischief because she was so busy baking bread. She'd make 8 loaves of bread twice a week, and we came home from school. That smell of bread was so good, and the butter we had on it. She'd even churn butter, but then towards the end, she said, Dad says, oh, we can buy the butter cheaper than we can churn it, so let's just send all the milk and cream to the dairy, and then we'll just buy the butter.
That was nice. And now, didn't she used to play the guitar?
Yes, she did, and she used to sing. Aunt Cemoria used to come over, and they used to play their guitars and sing, and Aunt Brita used to come too, but she didn't have as pretty a voice as Mom and Aunt Cemoria had. Hers was just more shrill.
Mm-hmm.
Cemoria, what was her last name?
What?
Julene,
Julene.
you see her voice was more shrill. It wasn't as Pretty as your mother's, you
Yeah,
say?
yeah. Auntie Cemoria had a beautiful voice, and so did my mother. Just kind of sweet like.
Yeah.
Remember what songs they used to sing? What kind of songs? did
Well,
they used
mostly Swedish songs.
Do you know any of them?
No, I used to know them, but that little thing I've got on the wall in the kitchen, that's a song where the Swedish flag is, you know, Die Gamla, Die Fria, Die Fjordiga Nog, or Jord, or whatever it is. It means the old and the new, and the beautiful earth, or whatever. Jord, wouldn't you call Jord or earth? Or would you
I don't
call it
know.
ground or what?
I don't hardly know any Swedish. I should say I hardly know any Swedish anymore.
Is that right?
Just
I've
a word or
forgotten
two.
too.
I just don't know it.
Yeah. And my mother used to take OR and sit and read the Swedish Svenska Bladet. That was a Swedish paper. And he learned a lot of Swedish that way, you know, even after he was in school
Yeah.
here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Tell me about Aunt, what's her name? Cemoria? Aunt Cemoria?
Cemoria Jeline.
Cemoria Julie.
That would be your grandmother's sister, or her mother's,
mother's
your great grandmother's
sister,
sister.
Well, Cemoria
This lady's
was,
sister.
was a very pretty woman, and she had quite a few beaux, but she finally met Oscar Jardine, and boy, that was love at first sight. And so they got married, and I was just about yay high when they got married. I was about 5, I guess, or 4 or 5. And they asked me to be the ring bearer. And they put the ring on a pig pillow, you know, it had a bulge in the center. And I stood, of course, I could never stand still. My mother said I had jitterbugs in my legs or something. And I jiggled that pillow, and the rings fell off, and both rings, his and hers both. And I was so embarrassed. My grandmother went and picked him up. And then when he kissed the bride, why, Aunt Cemoria, he said, I think I'll kiss this little Cemoria too. And I ran off in the bedroom. I was so bashful. I'll never forget that, how shy I was, you know, as a kid.
Now, you were named after her? Is that
Yeah. Yeah, my mother said, well, I was the 7th down the line. And when I was born, Aunt Cemoria was there, and the midwife was there, Mrs. Jordan. And Mama said, well, what shall I name this little girl? She said, I don't know what to name her. Cemoria said, well, you can name her after me. And Mrs. Jordan said, name her after me. And her name was Maria. And so my mother said, well, if they're going to have their names on this little girl, I'll put my name on there too. So I'm Cemoria, Alida, Maria.
That's why you have 3 names.
Yeah.
Boy, it's a good thing you didn't have a lot of cousins and aunts and everything else. You would.
That's
Well,
right.
They knew I was going to be a big girl, you know.
Sort of like the Queen of England. She
Yeah.
has 5 or 6 names.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And now, what was she like? What was Aunt Cemoria like?
She was really a nice person. She used to come over and visit Mom and help her once in a while. And Grandma did too when they had the thrashers or anything. Grandma used to come over and help her. But after Aunt Cemoria was married, she didn't come over anymore because she came over to visit, but not to help. But she used to come over and help Mom a lot. And one time she said, Cemoria, why don't you come over and visit Grandma, walk home with me? So I said, oh, that would be fun. And we started getting dusk, and we were about halfway there. And I said, oh, I want to go home. I'm homesick. I said, I want my mother. Oh, she says, let's keep on going. Grandma will be glad to see you. She said, and if she's in bed, we'll just throw a bucket of water on her face. I thought, boy, that's what I want to do. So I walked on over with her. And
That was quite a walk.
yeah, it was about 3 miles. I
Yeah.
imagine, huh?
Mountain View.
Yeah.
Pleasant Valley, Mountain View. You know where that is.
Yeah, that was quite a
You've
walk.
seen the old house, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, was she asleep when you
Yeah,
got there?
no, she wasn't asleep, but she was awake. And
Darn
she,
it.
I didn't throw any water on her. She said, told me to get in bed with her, so I got in bed with her, and I was all right then.
What was your grandmother like, and your grandfather?
Well, they were both kind of strict people, you know.
Whose parents was this grandma and grandpa?
This was Alida's parents.
Yeah,
What were they, Osmond?
Oslin.
yeah,
Is that their picture in your hand? Or?
yeah.
Can you hold it up?
I can remember my grandma coming over and helping Mama cook for the threshers. We'd have maybe 8 or 10 men, you know, and they'd cook
Hold up,
great big dinners for them. And And after they were through washing dishes, well, I was always, I couldn't sit still like you, like I said before, and I'd get up there and finger those forks, knives and forks, and she slapped my hand, and oh, that just hurt my feelings. I never did that anymore.
Was she a strong personality?
Yeah, very strong personality. Much more stronger than Mother. Much different than Mother. At least I thought she was. She was stoic or stern or something.
What was he like? Was he more quiet?
Yeah, he was more quiet, but when he said something, he meant it too. But he was quite a loner.
That's what I heard.
He had a bedroom off by himself, and I don't think my Grandma and Grandpa, not that I know, that ever slept together. He had his own little bedroom, and she had hers.
Yeah, someone said that he did a lot of wood carving. I mean, just little things and
he
things.
Did. He made these wooden spoons and forks, out of wood. And
I have a wooden spoon he made
have you?
that Mother had, yeah. A mush spoon, mush spoon.
Yeah.
That really big shovel, almost like a shovel,
Yeah.
long handle.
Yeah, every once in a while he'd come over and bring Mom a spoon or fork that he
Really?
carved.
Yeah, someone.
How many children did they have?
I think they had 7, but 2 had died in Sweden.
2 died.
Olaf, pardon?
2 died.
Sally,
Oh.
Selma, and Eric Olaf. They had died in Sweden. I
Uh-huh.
think they had died of TB or something. Mama told me.
So Alida was what daughter number was she?
Well, there's Brita, and I don't know where Mama came in. She was probably younger than Selma.
Excuse me, let me get something here.
And then Uncle Eric. But Uncle Eric, Aunt Cemoria was the youngest, and Uncle Eric was next to Aunt Cemoria. Be careful, honey. And that's all no, Emil. I had Emil. They had 5 that came over. Brita and Emil and Mama and Uncle Eric and Aunt Cemoria. So they had 5 come over, and 2 had died in Sweden. A girl and a boy.
Okay, Eric married who?
Anna.
Anna.
That's Dorothy Kaki's mother and father.
Would you be more comfortable in the living room, or do you want to sit right where you are?
Is this your grandparent?
This is Grandma and Grandpa. Yeah, this is my grandmother and grandfather's children here. They had 8
Do
children.
you have that one? Copy of that?
What?
Do you have a copy of that one?
I imagine I do.
So
I
who's the
haven't
other
looked at it for
daughter
so long.
that died or something?
What?
You said they
Which
had
one's
8
that?
children.
They had 8 children here. They must have had. I heard them talk about Selma dying, and Yellow, Ferdinand, I think. Now this is Kaki and Dorothy's mother and father.
But who's this other person?
What?
Who's that other person?
Lydia Cemoria.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
Aunt
Aunt
Cemoria.
Cemoria.
Yeah, that's Aunt Cemoria.
Right,
And
Brita.
this is Brita Larson.
Yeah, I just put her things in the other night, and it's none of it is complete. It's just names that I can remember.
Now this one is one that must have died. It says this is Simon Emil. He was our neighbor. That's Enos's father. And Austin, I don't know who that was. See, they don't even have. She must have.
Died at 18,
Let's
so
see.
it says.
Lydia died at 1.5 years here.
Oh, 1.5 years, okay.
Uh-huh.
I have glasses on.
They don't even have her birth date on
No.
here. And then this is Mama, Alida Christina. And this is the one that died about 1886. And
What was her name?
That's Elaf.
Elaf Ferdinand.
He was a boy.
Alfred Ferdinand, they named Alfred Ferdinand after him. And this is Eric Leander, that's Dorothy and Kaki's father. There's Aunt Cemoria.
We could probably get more information from Dorothy and Kaki on something like this.
Yeah.
Dorothy might have that.
Yeah, I imagine so. I'm going to see if I have that. I'm going to look mine up.
Well, if you need something, I do have, a lot of material here, and I'll copy whatever you want.
Yeah.
I got some of this from Bob a long time ago. I copied it, and the rest was what Mother had, and she told me to take it. So I took hers, you know.
Yeah, I've got a lot too. I've got what Henry had, and I compared it with what he had sent OR, and I have the same thing, and I have extra.
Well, see, this is what Henry had too. Some of this is what Henry had. So, I mean, it's the same thing that's been going around. Mother probably got some from Henry.
Yeah, she probably
And
did.
then she copied some also, and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
You can tell her handwriting.
Well, just so we get it all done, so that we get it, get them sealed in the temple.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the good part about putting it on the computer.
Yeah.
That's right. Most of it, I think, I should say a lot of it the work has been done.
But every once in a while you find somebody that hasn't.
Oh, yes, I didn't mean it that, right down the road, but I'm saying just in general, the families have been done,
Like
so.
these babies, have they all been sealed to their parents? That died?
See, it will tell here if they've been sealed.
If this is accurate. Elof Ferdinand, I don't see anything for him.
Well, see,
Or
apparently
Lydia.
they weren't church members at the time when they made this sheet out, maybe.
So this should be done.
Yeah. Well, these should be all sealed to their parents.
This is why I thought I should ask Dorothy
Yeah.
if she has this sheet and if it's up to
Yeah,
date,
uh-huh.
what's been done.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I see Bob was the one that wrote this one, so.
I'm going to look and see if, Bob, get
Yeah,
Bob Robert here.
uh-huh. Anyway, this is all. If you want this sheet, I'll make a copy of it if you like it.
Yeah, okay. I'll look and see if I have one, and then if I don't,
Olaf Leander. Here's a Leander, too.
yeah. That's
And-
Lundquist, though.
The Lundquist, that's right. Do you know that name?
No.
Oh,
I don't
no, but I
recognize
mean, it must come, there must be Eric Leander,
Yeah,
must be a
uh-huh.
connection somewhere. And Lily Brigitte Ullstrom.
Uh-huh.
Now,
I wonder if this John Elstrom's.
John Ullstrom's sister. He was married to Margareta Linde.
Oh, this is in Sweden.
This is
then.
Jonas Ullstrom and Margareta Linde. Right, and their daughter was Lily Ullstrom.
Well, in that picture you sent over, there was a John Ostrom, and he
Yeah.
used to come over all the time on holidays and things, especially Christmas. One year he brought me a little teddy bear, just a little tiny teddy bear. Oh, I was so proud. Of first teddy bear I'd ever gotten, or first doll I'd ever gotten. I remember I was sitting on Dad's lap, and must have been a little tiny thing, and he pulled it out of his pocket and brought it over to me.
Is that the same John Ullstrom that married Joanna somebody in Bellingham? Yeah.
In Bellingham, Yeah, he liked Aunt Cemoria real well, but she didn't like him too well.
Was that Cemoria like really beautiful or something?
Yeah, she was a very pretty woman.
It seems like her mother probably was quite good looking too. Like
My mother?
your
Yeah.
your great grandmother,
Yeah.
your grandmother, my
Yeah,
great grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah, she certainly looked regal.
yeah.
It's
Well,
just,
she carried herself like a queen.
yes, that's what
She was
pictures
tall
I have.
and slender. And,
Yeah. Do you have pictures of her?
yeah, I have some, but I don't know where they are. They're probably
Yeah.
in an album somewhere.
Yeah. Because I'd like to give you some. If I have copies, I'd like to give you some of the pictures. Or
Okay.
because I do have copies of some of these, and I have negatives. I can make some for you if you want them, because it's.
Okay.
I don't want to be selfish about it. That's why I've got them. Mother said to take the pictures, but be sure others get them if they want to. Then I want to do that, So
Well, when Dorothy and Alfred were married, it's nothing against Dorothy or Alfred, either one. I guess they were so overcome. But we didn't get any of the pictures, even the snapshots, of the kids. And they took a lot of pictures, snapshots and things when we were younger. And that's the first one that you sent me. It's the first I'd ever seen that one.
well, see, Melanie got that from, I think not
Tony
Iris.
Signey.
Signey, I think. Yeah, I think she got that from her.
Where's a copy of that picture?
It's right in that envelope. Now, this Lily is the one Mother wanted me to trace because she knew her, she remembered her. So I found, she said she had died in an accident. So I found her just before Mother died. I found it so she knew what happened to her. But she had died, and I don't know about her husband. One son.
It's all entered or what?
Well, that's in the because it's in the computer.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
just my own personal thing.
Whoops. Sorry. lampshade. I'll try dancing with it around on my head.
John Olstrom's sister, so
Theodore. Lindy, my grandmother.
Margaret Olstrom is sister of Theodore Linde. She was,
Margarita. Dad used to call her Margarita.
oh really? Well, see, Margareta was her mother then.
Yeah.
That was her daughter. Well, see, that would be a cousin then, you see,
Yeah.
to you and mother.
Yeah, and Sig had a middle name of Margarita.
Yeah, these are just little tidbits I picked up, and I sent for her a death certificate for her and stuff. So I wanted
To send to Sweden for?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's really easy to get some of these records.
Is
It's
that
very
right?
simple. You just ask for them, give it the information you've got, and send for them. Now this is material I got from this cousin in Sweden also. Her name is Sonja Holtis, but her husband died recently. She's about my age, I think,
Oh.
maybe a little older, and she has children. She lives in Skid. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's near Stockholm, I guess. But she is. She sent me a lot of material, and she's a very nice person. She's not a member of the church. She said, she wrote to me when I asked her for more about the family and things. She said, she said the Mormons have a lot of records in their mountain something or other in Salt Lake City, Utah. She said, you know, but I mean, it was kind of funny because she didn't know we were Mormons, you know.
Yeah.
But she said you could probably write to them and they'd help you too, you know. But I guess I wanted more of a personal relationship with my family in Sweden, you know, so it wasn't just records. Okay, there's Joseph Theodore.
Yeah, that's Dad.
Uh-huh.
And Elena Austin Westman.
And this is John, Uncle John Lierda. This is things she sent me.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Anna Elizabeth, Carl Johan. Oh, let's see, I'll go back. Maybe I can find. Oh, she said this is Carl Johan, it's her grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the connection. So this person I'm writing to, never mind.
It's your second cousin, huh?
Is it? Is it? Like Jenny then?
Yeah.
Okay, be your first cousin. Okay, whatever you
Wouldn't
see,
she be?
I believe.
don't know. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I'm sure you're right.
You always lose me on those second
I
generation.
know, me too.
Well, Audrey will say, well, Cemoria says it. Well, someone will say, Cemoria's wrong. She's your first cousin.
I don't care what she is. She sounds all right to me. Ridiculous. Anyway, this was nice of her to send all this material. And I write to her a couple of times a year.
Yeah, now here is, where's John Ostrom?
Do we wake
Here's
him up?
John Ostrom right here.
Oh, where?
Right here. That's John
Oh.
Ostrom. This is Oscar Julene, and this is Aunt Cemoria.
Can you hold them up so we can see here? Can you
Cemoria had her hair in a very stylish style. Mother said she always looked very nice. She kept herself very well groomed
Cemoria.
at Cemoria.
Yeah, very always
Yeah,
nice.
and her clothes were always very, very
Mother,
nice.
she wants you, or Audrey, could you
Can you
hold up
turn
picture?
around so I can see?
Can you
My-
do that? Is that okay?
I'm sure Grandma
Yeah,
made her
if you just
clothes
hold
because
it
she was
still
an
there.
excellent streamster.
Now, can you
And-
show me which one it is? Who is the Aunt Cemoria and the...
Aunt Cemoria is
Yeah,
number
and Uncle
9.
Oscar,
And her Uncle Oscar is standing right beside her. I don't know if you can catch that. Do you think you can?
Yeah, I got it.
Very good. And
Do you want to show me anybody else there?
What, Uncle Oscar's, which number?
Uncle Oscar is number 8. I should
You
have my
know,
glasses
Enos
on.
wasn't here. Oscar
Here.
Roostan was there, but Enos wasn't there. She
Oh,
must
really?
have been there, but she must have been farther back. They didn't get her. See, there's Oscar Roostan.
Oh, really?
What
Yeah,
number?
I know. And Enos must have been farther
What
back.
number, Mother? Oscar.
Number 2. Oscar Rostand is number 2.
Can you
Signy's
turn
number
around
1.
Full? Keep it, well, we gotta hold it still for a sec so my camera can focus in. No, I don't think it's... No, it's not gonna focus in right how you have it. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it. Back up just a little.
It's very faint in the picture, so.
Yeah, my camera's freaking out trying to focus in on that one. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
And
This is Grandpa, and this is Lars Larson.
Which number?
This is Brita. This is my
Mother,
mother.
give the number. When you say the
Can
name.
you see the numbers? Can you see the numbers? I should get my
When
glasses.
you say the name, say who they are, will ya?
Mother's 21,
Okay.
Dad is 22, and Grandpa's 23,
Grandpa who?
Grandpa Osmond.
Okay.
Now, where's Grandma? I don't see her. Oh, yeah, Grandma's number 11, clear over in the middle of the picture. She's standing by Martha Sealander,
Which is number what?
number 13. And John Sealander's number 15, and I'm number 14. Sig's number 16. Who's number 15 here? And Maureen is number 17, and OR's number 18. Beat is number 19, and John, her husband, no,
John Lind is
John Linde is 20, and Mama's 21, and Dad's 22, and Grandpa Osmond is 23, and Lars Larson is 24, and Yerda Linde is 32, and I don't know who this little old lady was. She used to come with Grandma Sealander. She was a widow. That's number 31.
She was from Bellingham then.
Yeah, she was from Bellingham. I think she was Grandma's neighbor.
She
used
was like a
to
member of
come
the
over.
family.
Yeah, she used to come over a lot. And
Now, what's the occasion of this picture?
it must have been Ida and Emo's 25th wedding anniversary. Because she's got a big bouquet of flowers here. She's the only one carrying
Finish
flowers.
giving all those numbers there.
Well, we have them on paper right here.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
You have it copied.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is something.
Aunt rang there and
No, Aunt
Make a
Rang wasn't
copy.
here.
Just
I
make a
think
copy
she
for
was
me.
working in Seattle at the time. She worked for Henry's on the Highlands in Seattle.
Who did?
Yeah,
Your
your
mother.
mother.
My
Your
mother did.
Uh-huh.
For the Henrys, yeah.
Yeah, and then she came back to Bellingham and worked for the Donovans.
Yeah.
Real prominent people.
Uh-huh.
We worked for good people when we worked.
Yeah, you did. I can say some of those names still come up in when you hear about people in Seattle or in Belgium. You still
Yeah,
hear the name.
Yeah.
The Donovans were lumber people, weren't they?
Yeah, they owned that that Bellingham Bay Mill, I think, down there on the waterfront.
I remember the house. Mother would show me the house.
And Henry's, I don't know what they did, but they had a maid. They had two maids, Rang, and they had a cook.
Mm-hmm.
And Rang was the first maid or second maid or something, and she served the dinners and things, and they had a cook to cook it. So they were real wealthy.
So, now, did you work for people like that?
I worked for Dr. Buckner. He was a bone specialist,
orthopedic.
orthopedic doctor. They called him bone specialist at the time.
Whereabouts?
And well, when I first went there, they lived in an apartment house.
Seattle?
Yeah, in Seattle. And then after I'd been there about a month, they moved into a great big apartment house, the first apartment house that they built in Seattle up on Minor Avenue. And it was a 10-story apartment. And we moved into that. And I remember I was helping them pack dishes into a barrel to move. And the doctor dropped a goblet, and I reached under and caught it.
Oh.
Oh, thank you, he said. He gave me $1.50 for catching it.
Oh, wow. Tell them baseball paid off. She was a tomboy, she
Oh,
said.
really?
Yeah, she was
Yes.
a tomboy. She was always out playing baseball when she wasn't supposed to.
Well, that's good. That's
My
good.
mother used to say, Cemoria, aren't you ever going to become a lady?
Not if I can help it.
Yeah, I used to ride the bike, and I used to play over with the boys, and I was always outside playing marbles or whatever I could get out of housework to do.
Tell them what lawyer you worked for in Bellingham.
The doctor, George Livesey, he was a lawyer.
George who?
Livesey.
Livesey.
And his son was a lawyer too,
Was he?
I think it must be a family lawyer. So
George
there's still
Livesey.
Liveseys there who are lawyers.
Yeah, their boy's
In
name was
Bellingham.
George.
How old
Yeah.
were you then, Mom?
I was only about 18.
And then you went down to Seattle because Aunt Rang was there,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Nate?
Rang wrote and said,
Nathan, would you like some butter on that?
and
Would
come
you like butter on it?
come to Seattle, I'm sure you can get a job here. And she was
Excuse
quite
me.
lonesome, She had Audrey and she was expecting Bob, and so I got a job with Dr. Buckner right away.
That's neat.
See, I ironed 24 shirts at home all the time, and When I ironed shirts, oh, she says, you iron shirts beautifully, she said.
Well, you said that somebody else was working there, trying
Yeah.
out for the job first
Yeah.
of all. You read about it in the paper.
Yeah, well, she was there when I was there.
The other girl, and then she let her go, you said.
Yeah, she let her go and hired me. So I was lucky to have a, good
And then,
job.
then how long did you work for Buckner, Dr. Buckner?
Well, until I got married.
And that's when how many of you were living in Seattle at the time then?
Well,
Rang
I
and
had
Oscar?
Rang and Ragnar and Maureen. They stayed with Audrey or with Rang and Oscar for a while after they were married. And then Henry and Fritz. They were 5 of us in Seattle.
Oh, yeah. Then how did you all go out together and do things together, or what?
Well, Fritz and I used to go to dances at the Trianon a lot. That's before he met Mildred.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd meet him down there at the Trianon, and we'd dance, a few. Of course, in those days, you weren't afraid to walk anywhere. You could walk anywhere.
Well, what year was this?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember. It was about 29, I guess.
How old were you? How old were you?
I was 19,
Yeah.
I guess, when I
Okay.
came to Seattle. See, and we were married, well, it was about 30. Al and I were married in 31.
Now, didn't you meet him there at the, what's
No.
it called, the Trianon?
What?
Where?
Trianon.
You met
Well,
Grandpa there.
No.
No, where'd you meet
At
him?
the IOF hall. I met Grandpa, my husband. Yeah, he was up as a Swedish dance. He couldn't dance Swedish. I don't know what he was doing up there.
Well, he knew you were. Yeah, he was looking for you. Right.
What was he doing at the Swedish dance? Is that where they had the Swedish dances at the IOF?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh,
It was only about 9 blocks from where I lived.
oh, really?
I just have to walk straight down the hill, and I walk
How
down
often did they have those dances?
every Saturday night.
Oh, really?
You lived in where you worked, did you?
Pardon?
Did you live in where you worked?
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah, we didn't live with the people that we worked for. They had a servants' quarter downstairs
Uh-huh.
for the help lived. The elevator man lived down there, and several other women, young women and older women lived down there. They worked for the people upstairs.
What they have a big apartment for?
We built a big apartment house up there, 10-story apartment.
Oh, so they rented out?
Yeah, they
Oh.
rented out to 2 different people, doctors and lawyers.
Maybe they entertained a lot or something.
Pardon?
Did they entertain a lot or something?
Yeah, and I know your mother came and Buckners didn't entertain too much, but once in a while they needed extra help, someone to cook the dinner. They didn't think I cooked good enough, I guess. So I told her, oh, my sister's a real good cook, so she came and cooked the dinner that night. They had about 12 people.
Now, when was that? Was I born? Was I?
Yeah,
Around-
she was pregnant with Bob.
With Bob?
Or
Yes.
Curtis maybe.
That would have been 1990. Let's see, that would have been
When was Bob born?
19. Was it 32? 30? No, 31.
No.
1930 maybe.
Curtis was born in 31, wasn't he?
Bob had been born in
Yeah.
30 then.
Yeah. Now, Curtis was born in 31 in December, and Al
That's
and
right.
I were married in October of 30,
Uh-huh. Where were you married?
up Seattle, up at home,
In Bellingham.
Bellingham.
At your home.
1931, right?
No,
1931.
1931. We were married in December.
October.
October.
And Curtis was born in
December.
December of that
Yeah.
same year,
Uh-huh.
31.
That's right. Now, there's something in my mind. I mean, I remember one time that when I was asleep, but Mother came into my bedroom, and she said she had brought something for us. And I can remember aspic of some kind. Now, do you suppose she had been did she cook out often, or did she help out often after we were born, or after,
I don't know. I just remember the one time.
Well, maybe I wonder if that was it, because I know I was a girl, and I was still a child, and we were in Seattle, and Mother came into my bedroom, and she said she had brought us something, and she said it was aspic, and
Tomato aspic.
I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember the name because I've always liked aspic of any kind,
Yeah.
and I remember eating it, but I can't remember. It's more than that, but I remember I was probably awake, I don't know, but she was talking to me when she came home from where she had been, because she said I remember she had been helping out somewhere. Maybe that was with you, I don't know.
I don't remember either. She never. I used to go down there once a week, though. and she'd have, worked some other where. But she was pregnant, and she didn't go out very much.
No, maybe it was just to help you, but she brought some samples or some things that were left over or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they
so-
always threw all their leftovers away, but they never ate the leftovers. Where I was. It was always.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to crack it? Okay,
He
sure.
wants a nut. He's
Yeah.
a little nut, this kid.
Did you know Dad well before your brother was married him? Before they got married? Did you know my dad?
Oscar. Did you know
My
Oscar?
dad. Yeah. Did you know Oscar before Mother and Dad were married? Did you know
Well,
him?
yes, he used to come to the house once.
Yeah.
How
But
long?
not- How long?
Yeah. Did you know him before?
Oh, didn't pay him too much attention. I was just a tomboy. Boys came to the house. They came
Yeah.
to see the other girls, not me. I was the ugly duckling.
Well, you were
Don't eat
old,
the
they
shells
were
now.
older than you too, right?
Oh, yeah. Rang was 8 years older, and Sig was 4 years older than I was.
Yeah. Uncle Fritz said he can remember my dad staying on the farm with your family on the farm. You were just a girl then. I'm sure you were at home. And he said he can remember him coming downstairs and asking my grandfather for Mother's hand in marriage, asking if he could marry her.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Do you really?
I don't remember, but I can remember him talking to Grandpa.
Can you?
And your mother was there.
Really? Strange, isn't it?
They did that in Sweden now.
Oh.
My husband didn't do that. He just asked me to marry him, so we went off and got married.
Well, Dad didn't have anything to go by. He was orphaned so early.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think Dad had good manners. I never knew Dad very well. I never got to know him.
Didn't you?
No.
He was a good man, Audrey. Real fine man.
He was awfully good looking.
Yeah.
He looked like a lady killer,
Yeah, he was.
That's where his sons are so good looking.
Yeah. That's where you get your good looks, too.
Yeah, some of it, I guess, yeah. I have some Auslan in me. I think that Leif looks a lot like Grandpa, like my grandfather,
Do you?
in his early pictures.
Grandpa
yeah.
Lindy?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he probably does. I thought he looked a little different than your family.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look like his dad really at all. He's built like I am, which is a very sad thing comment.
You're built just fine.
Right.
It's a terrible thing.
You bet.
It's a curse, It's handed down from what do they call it, from the unto the third and fourth generations and beyond.
No,
Anyway.
it isn't a curse.
Oh, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
anyway, Dad was very good looking. I think he was a good man. Did Dad drink when you knew him?
No, he smoked.
Oh, I know he smoked,
Uh-huh.
and I thought that was so handsome. I thought that was so wonderful, so romantic. When I was a kid, he smoked a pipe. The cigarettes, that was different. But he smoked a pipe, and I thought that was the neatest thing. That's a kid talking.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with tobacco then.
No.
Everybody did it. I mean,
Everybody.
so-called.
I know the boys that used to come and see Sig. Why, Uncle John, or my cousin John, used to come with him a lot. And I think he was trying to squire me, but I was only 14, 15, and I didn't pay any attention to him. But I know one time Mom and Sig and I and those Vic and John were all sitting out in the front yard. We had, you used to sit out just out in the yard on the ground. And Vic and John were smoking, so they handed the cigarette to Sig, and she took a puff, and they handed one to me, and I just put it to my mouth and threw it back because I couldn't stand the smell of it.
That's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I can remember that we were sitting there.
I think we all do crazy things just
Yeah.
once, just to see what it would be like. Yeah.
Have some more bread.
Are you hungry, honey? Can you have
Want
some more bread?
Sure.
Sure. Would you like a banana too?
Taught me the Charleston, how to do the Charleston. You kick up your legs and
Who was the good dancers?
Signe and Sally.
Larson, right?
Yeah, Larson, 1 and 3.
Was it you or someone else that said they dressed so well? The Larson girls dressed so well.
Yeah, I think Brita used to sew for them, or Grandma did. I don't know which. They looked real nice when they always looked, See, they've got flared skirts here. They used to go dancing in those flared skirts.
Where'd they dance?
the Grange Hall and at the school. They used to hold dances in their school's houses, in the
But
Grange
right
Hall.
there in Ferndale, or what?
You know, this
Yeah,
is kind of sick.
right
Is that
not too
okay?
far from where they live.
Let's see, I've got the threads crooked.
And they were
Isn't that
good
strange?
dancers. In fact, they
Is
met
that
their
okay?
boyfriends at the dance,
eat anyway?
at the dances.
It tastes
And
the same.
Signe was married when she was 16,
If you
and
want to
Sally
have
was a couple of
I've
years
got one,
older.
okay,
I
I'll
think
take
she
it out
got
here.
married.
Well, what? Did you all go down to Birch Bay very often?
Yeah, Dad and Mom used to drive us down. We didn't live but about 3 miles from there. And before the boys started driving cars, Fritz and Helgi started driving cars, why they took us down there and sat while we danced, and then they'd pick us up and take us home. They kind of enjoyed being, Mom and Dad were real young, and they kind of enjoyed being out in the fresh air and going and walking down along the beach and stuff.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was real nice.
But they had time, it
Yeah.
took time for you.
They took a lot of time for us, Sometimes in the summertime, why they'd dig up a bunch of potatoes, and we'd go down there, and Dad'd make a pit and build a fire in there, and we'd roast our potatoes in there. Oh, they were so good. We just really enjoyed that.
I'll bet you did.
They did a lot more with us kids than we did with you kids when you were growing up, because they had more time, I think.
I can remember. Trying to
Sure,
find
they had you doing all the ironing, Grandma, and the washing, and
Sure,
of course they had nothing but
Slave
time.
labor. Well, that's what they call it now, It'd be child labor.
Yeah, that'd be real.
Well, my
Against the
mother was
law.
sick. She couldn't even carry a chair across the room, or
She was
anything.
sick a lot, wasn't
Yeah.
she?
I think if she'd had her female organs, she didn't have any care when her babies were born. And I think if she'd had, all that sewed up every time, she'd have been much better. But I can remember her walking around and hurting, and she'd sit in a rocking chair and just pass right out in the kitchen,
awful.
Dad'd have to come in and carry her to the bed. And,
Well, wasn't there anything they could do at that time, or
well,
just didn't they do?
took her to the doctor, and they said it was her heart, but I don't think it was. Rang said it wasn't her heart. I think it was her, like OR said, if she'd had her female organs taken care of, why he thought she'd have been much better. Yeah.
Yes, I bet so too.
She couldn't sweep the floor or scrub a floor, or scrub the floor or anything. It was up to us girls to do that.
I bet a lot of women went around like that
Yeah, I'm
that
sure.
time.
I'm sure
it must
they
have been
did.
very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was. Mother said once. She said she would have liked, your grandchildren. She said, all the grandchildren, because she would love children so much, and she, and I know you would have loved her too. You would have
Yeah.
they would really have liked her as a
Yeah.
grandmother.
And I remember Mommy used to make these scorper, these toasted buns, and when you were about 5 years old, you were up there and chewing on one of those. And she found it after you'd gone, and she had hid it. We found it after she was dead up in the cupboard. She'd hid it up there in the cupboard. She was saving it,
Oh my.
Yeah, she was that sentimental.
Yeah. And she was a very soft, gentle person, the way it sounds.
Yeah.
I really didn't know her either because we lived in Seattle,
Yeah.
So she said grandmother was looking forward to the time when we'd be living in the country and I could
Yeah.
walk up to see them,
Yeah. And one time she brought, when Bob was a baby, I guess she brought both of them up there, and my mother said, well, now remember, these are just children, she says. Don't correct them. She said, remember, they're just children.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought
Yeah,
that was nice.
It was. And I can remember Mother saying my grandfather said that they didn't spank us kids enough. I guess just in general, just a Saturday night whipping, along with the bath.
They didn't spank us very much either. That was the camera, I think, that I knocked over.
Tape recorder. No, I think it might have been me. I don't know.
They didn't spank us very much. I can remember, though, one time we had to go out and get wood, the four of us, Helge and Sig and Fritz and I. And Mama needed it for this wood stove. She was baking bread. And we got out in the snow and we started throwing snowballs at each other. And we didn't bring I'll put it in my lap. And we didn't bring the wood in. So Dad called us in. He says, hey, kids, Mama needs the wood. I said it in Swedish. Boy, we hustled in with that wood, and he gave us each a spanking that night after.
Well, Mother sounded like she was kind of afraid of him. Afraid of her father.
Oh, I wasn't afraid of him, but
No.
he spanked us.
Yeah.
And I was the last to be spanked, and because I heard the rest of the kids crying, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got that coming too.
What did you do?
We played out in the snow instead of bringing wood in for Mama. Because she was baking bread, she had the bread in the oven. And Dad says, Mama needs her wood, kids, get in here. So we all hurry up and scurried into woodshed and brought the wood in. And then Dad spanked us, all four of us.
Oh, really?
Hilge first, and then Sig, and then Fritz, and then me. I was the last. He didn't have much strength for me because he didn't spank me very hard. And then that night, Mama, we used to wear long underwear, when we were kids. I mean long underwear. And she took down our long underwear and rubbed oleoid on our rear ends. So we wouldn't get infection from it. I'll never forget that.
That oleoid was practically a legend, You do anything,
Really?
What was it? What was it?
It was a liniment, some sort of a liniment. Curricle was what we ate if we got indigestion or Dad sold these patent medicines. And if we got constipated or anything, we took a tablespoon of curricle at night. Or if we had sores on us, we used oleoid. It was
sort
good
of like
medicine.
Yeah. It was
So your dad sold this kind of medicine?
Yeah, it's a patent medicine. He sold it. He was really aggressive, that man was.
I guess.
He did a lot of things to earn a little extra money and wherever he could, I guess.
Yeah.
And those things were really thought to be cure anything,
Yeah.
headache, cancer, whatever ails you, mosquito bites.
Yeah.
I think it was good for mosquito bites. I think I remember something. Didn't we use it for mosquito bites?
Yeah, we used it
We
for
were kids.
everything.
Yeah, I think we did when we were kids.
And people used to come from miles around and buy it from us $1 a bottle.
Really? Where'd he get it?
He sent for it somewhere. I don't know where he got it.
Probably Sears Roebuck catalog.
Could be. I don't know.
Did
where
you
he
have a
got
Sears
it.
Roebuck catalog?
Oh yeah, we always had it. We used to use that in the toilet.
Oh, yes.
That was a precious commodity.
That's what the toilet paper was.
And did you have an outhouse with 1 or 2 holes, or
We had two.
a 2-hole outhouse?
They were up and coming, and a lot of people.
Were you sitting there
We're
next to us?
fast. You could go in 2 at a time and keep each other company.
We were rich people. We had two.
Yeah, tools.
Pick who you want to go in with.
Well, sometimes at night it was nice to have someone sitting alongside of you when
That's
it was dark.
true.
Out there in the dark. The cows mooing around you and all this.
You never experienced that.
No. Well, I can remember when we first moved when Dad was building that house. I can remember just barely. I must have been about 4 or 3 or 4. That we had an outhouse just right before he put the bathroom in. And
But we didn't put the bathroom in until Sonny was born.
no wonder I was
Yeah.
going up to there. Yeah, because
But that made me have children easy because it was uphill,
yeah.
And Barbara
I can
was
remember
born,
that.
and you were born, and no problem at all.
Yeah, right.
Because we used to walk so much.
Yeah, right. We had to take us all up there to go to.
Uncle Al knew what he was doing when he built the hill.
Sure did. Sure did.
Yeah. The cow was up the hill. The chickens were up the hill. Everything was up the hill.
Well, look what we've got. We have a hill too,
That's right. Yeah.
So
I can remember when when Dad was working in Bremerton, and she used to get so mad at old Bossy so much the time. That was Bossy I think was about ready to come between her and Dad so many times because every time she wanted to go to Bellingham, who we're going to get to milk Bossy? We have to find someone. No, we can't go this weekend because we don't know who we're going to get to milk Bossy. And she's, we get rid of that old Bossy. She said, we never can go anyplace. We always have to get someone. And then they'd get up there and they'd have such a good time at Bellingham. And then we'd all have so much fun up there in that, staying up there and visiting all of our cousins, And we'd say, can't we stay a day longer? Nope, we got to go back and take care of the cow. I only told you could milk her one day, we got to go back. And my mother used to get mad. Then I can remember her milking Bossy when he had to go to work in Bremerton, and he was in the shipyards. 45. I can remember her giving old Bossy a kick every once in a while.
Well, I had to hold the tail between my knees, And
it was just like into the straw,
Yeah.
It was just like this old cow and me.
yeah. Well, with you it's a cow. With us it was the pipes. The pipes were always going to freeze. So I guess they all had their reasons, didn't they?
Yeah, right. Oh, I can remember us